time to be better, do better, see better. It's time for Uplift with Cliff. Get a little uplift with Cliff. With Cliff. Time to rise, time to shift. Get your spark, get your gift. Yeah, it's time for Uplift with Cliff. Are you ready for some uplift with Cliff? Welcome to Uplift with Cliff.
Everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to another edition of Uplift with Cliff. I'm Cliff Long, I'm your host, and you are here in the City Beautiful Studios at the world headquarters of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, and I am so happy to see you guys on today. Listen, didn't the weeks roll by? It seems like just yesterday we were all celebrating the return of Uplift with Cliff. And I tell you what, a couple of days strung together and wow, it's time again. And I'm super excited about today's episode, today's special guest, and what we're going to talk about today. Now listen, I don't know about you, but is this year not rolling by fast? It seems like it was just March, and then April, and then May. It seems like we were just in June, and then July, and it's August already, everybody. Just 4 more months left in the year, and 2025 will be saying goodbye. But listen, we're not about goodbyes here on Uplift with Cliff. We're about introductions, and guess what? It's that time of year again where it's what season is it? What season is it? Football season. And during football season, what happens? The mighty Alabama Crimson Tide rolls in and destroys everybody's hopes of winning the Natty, the national championship. So in honor of football season and my mighty Roll Tide, Alabama Crimson Tide, I got a truck up there just so that you know that in about 15 days, baby, the Tide's going to roll into Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, and we're going to open up a can. I'm not going to say what kind of can because I have censors here, but get ready, because football season is here. If you're a Michigan fan, I'm sorry. If you're an Ohio State fan, I'm sorry. If you're a Florida fan, I mourn your loss as well. If you are a Miami fan, y'all are back. I give you much respect. If you are a Notre Dame fan, go Irish. No matter what kind of fan you are, in America, it is that season where football comes and saves the day. And I am super excited about what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. Now, I am totally overwhelmed by the response to our last episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know it, but for a show that's been gone for like 2 years, we had over 1,800 people watch it, and we're getting ready to climb and start climbing again as more people learn that the show is back on the air. Your messages, your shares, your stories, they remind me of the work we do and why we do this work. Now, on our last episode, we talked about turning your setbacks into success. I don't know if you recall, but we talked about setbacks, people who had experienced setbacks in life. And these were extraordinary people because they turned their setbacks into success. Now today, I want to explore something equally powerful. I've got another powerful theme and a powerful person to talk about that in just a minute, but maybe something that's a little bit more elusive. Now what do you mean? Powerful but elusive. It's kind of an oxymoron. We're going to talk about something today that everybody wants, but not everybody can find. Today's episode is called The Pursuit of Happiness. No, I'm not talking about the movie. We're talking about the pursuit of happiness. Not the kind of happiness that comes with circumstances either. You know, sometimes people call the things that you get with circumstances
The real estate
happiness,
pulse is
but
beating
that's
strong
not
in Central.
lasting. I'm talking about the kind that sustains you, the kind that is there for you through the highs and the lows of building something meaningful. Now, before I get started today, big shout out to Elena Rivera. I see you in Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Marquita. Jay Underwood, good to see you down there. Keela Long, good morning. Patty Alonzo, mi maestra, it's good to see you today. And Tina Wheeler, hey, good to have you on today. Now listen, here's what I have learned. Happiness isn't a destination that you arrive at. It's a discipline. Woo, that's powerful. Happiness isn't a destination. It's a discipline, meaning you have to decide to be happy. You see, if you're waiting on people, places, and things to bring you happiness, then let me just go ahead and cut to the chase and tell you how the story ends. It ends with you being disappointed. Because happiness, achieving happiness, is about the discipline and being disciplined. We live in a culture that tells us that happiness comes from the next sale, that it comes from the next deal, the next milestone. But what if I told you that some of the most fulfilled people I know found their calling later in life in the most unexpected ways? So I got a couple of people today that I want to talk to you about, people I want to tell you about. Wendy Whittle Wagner, Triple W, good to see you today. Juliana Giordano, one of the best instructors in Central Florida, good to see you today. But today I don't want to talk about Juliana. I don't want to talk about Patty and her ability to teach. I don't want to talk about Keela Long. Today I want to talk about Colonel Sanders. What? Colonel Sanders? You mean from Kentucky Fried Chicken? Yep, I'm talking about that Colonel Sanders. You see, many of us think that success and happiness is instant in life, but it's not. At 62, the age of 62, Colonel Sanders had failed multiple times. He tried over and over and over to start his own business, but he couldn't get it done. In fact, Colonel Sanders found himself at the age of 62 living on Social Security. You see, happiness and your purpose in life doesn't always come at the beginning of life. Boom, I just blew your mind. Happiness and finding your purpose in life does not always come at the beginning of life. Colonel Sanders had one thing that drove him every day, and it was his passion. It brought him joy, and in that passion, it was his secret chicken recipe. Now listen, I know all of you guys out there think you have a secret recipe, but is it like 100 years old? Does it have franchises in Jamaica, Ukraine, Russia? I know your grandmama's chicken is good, but it ain't as good as what the Colonel put together, because he put together those 17 herbs and spices, and he managed to make it so that it could be duplicated, and now it's sold all over the world. Popeyes can't dethrone the Colonel. Cane's can't dethrone the Colonel. Mrs. Winters couldn't dethrone the Colonel. Nobody was ever able to dethrone the Colonel. Today, he is still the most widely recognized brand in the world, but the guy didn't hit until he was 62 years old. Now listen, he drove at the age of 62. Now, some of you guys can't even get out the bed. Some of you guys are talking about your Social Security, your bursitis. You're talking about my knee is hurting, it's going to rain today. But at 62, that did not stop Colonel Sanders. At 62, he was in the car, in the truck, driving from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant, pitching those 17 herbs and spices. He experienced, at 62, countless rejections. When I say rejections, I mean countless rejections before somebody said yes. I know some of you guys that get rejected twice and you already started a new profession. Some of you guys get rejected one time and you're looking for a new broker. Some of you guys lose your first election and you never run again. But this guy at 62 experienced countless rejections before somebody said yes. What drove him wasn't perfection, because he didn't have the first restaurant yet. What drove Colonel Sanders was passion. He found happiness in sharing something that he loved, and therein the joy became contagious. This all started with a man who found purpose in a simple recipe. Monica Mauricio, all the way from Tennessee, it's good to see you this morning. Good to see you. Now listen, Princess Marie, all the way from Montgomery, Alabama, it's good to see you today. Listen, this started with a man who had a simple recipe for fried chicken. Now, he was going to do something special. I don't know about all the 17 herbs and spices, Latanya. I don't know about what he was putting in it, but he was doing some things that people today, they take shortcuts. You know, people today with their fried chicken, they want to rinse it off. I hope y'all washing your chicken off, but they want to rinse the chicken off. They want to put some spice on it. They want to throw maybe some salt and pepper, some adobe seasoning, a little bit in the, depending on where you're from, they put a little bit in the flour, they season the flour. Y'all do know to season the flour. Okay, I'm going to stop. They try to season the flour, and then they throw it straight in the skillet. But the colonel said, we're going to put an egg wash on that thing. And he threw that egg wash, and he seasoned the wash, he seasoned the flour, he seasoned the chicken, and billions of dollars later, everybody knows who Colonel Sanders was. But it began with his passion. One man who found a simple recipe. Now, let me tell you about another person. I know you're not ready for who I'm going to bring up next. But ladies, I need you to get ready. And fellas, today, our next example of someone who pursued happiness, who kept their passion, was Vera Wang. What? Crickets. I wish I had my crickets button right here, Chico. I would hit the crickets button, and we would hear crickets. Vera Wang. Vera Wang spent her 30s in fashion journalism and retail. Yes, that Vera Wang, the one that makes the gowns, the one that makes the dresses, the one who you see at the Met, the one who you see at the Grammys, the one that you see at the Oscars. She was in journalism and then retail. She couldn't sell a dress on the side of a road marked down 95%. But guess what? At that age, she thought she had missed her chance. Now, let me slow down real quick because I need to speak to a couple of you guys. I know what it's like to feel like you missed your chance. You started with one broker, you started with one job, you thought that was going to be it. You started with one marriage. Yeah, I'm touching home now. You started with just the kids. I know what it's like in life to feel like you missed your chance. But listen, you can never give up. And you cannot tie your happiness with the destination. You've got to tie that happiness to the journey. Boom, I just blew your mind. I could sell that in a CD set, a 3 CD set for $9.99 at the end cap at Walmart, but I'm giving it to you today for free. You cannot and will not find your happiness in the destination. Are you hearing me, Amanda? Are you hearing me, Wendy? You will find your happiness in the journey. You will find your happiness at every band practice. You will find your happiness at every piano recital. You'll find your happiness driving along the way. You won't find it when you get there. You'll find it in the little things you do that make you happy every day. We'll talk about that more later. But Vera Wang thought she'd missed her chance. At the age of 40, she decided to pursue what made her heart sing: sewing. What? Sewing. Yes, you see, Vera wasn't going to find her joy in journalism. She wasn't going to find her joy in retail. She found her joy in getting back to her roots: sewing, creating beautiful gowns. She started with bridal wear, and she poured her passion into every design. Listen, happiness for Vera Wang didn't come from fame or fortune. It came from the daily practice of creating something beautiful. 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 I hope you're getting what I'm saying, because it's not in the gown. Once the gown is created, honey, it's created. But it's in the creation of the gown. Oh my gosh, man, I could sell out a stadium to tell you that, but I'm giving it to you today free on Uplift with Cliff. It's about the creation, the creating process. That's where the happiness is found. Diane, it's good to see you this morning from Longwood, Florida. It's good to see you. Now listen, she learned that when she created the gown, she made other people feel special on their most important day. Whoo, for all my real estate practitioners out there, you you have the opportunity to have a Vera Wang moment because you get a chance to help people feel special on the most important day, the day you hand them the keys to that business, the day you hand them the keys to that new home. And that is where the happiness is. But we won't stop at Vera Wang. We won't stop purely at the 17 herbs and spices that the Colonel poured tireless into chicken at the age of 62. We're not going to stop there. I want to tell you about another guy. Woo! Now listen up. Listen closely. Listen closely. I'm about to go in. Everybody listening? I'm about to go in. Have you ever heard of Ray Kroc? Yes. Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc is one of the people that put McDonald's on the map. He didn't found it. He just made it better. Some of you guys out there have a make it better spirit. Woo! Woo, boy, if I could take an offering on that one, LaTanya. Some of you guys have a make it better spirit. It's not about inventing it. It's not about creating it, but it's about coming in and making it better. Claudita makes it better. Sandra makes it better. Tico makes it better. I could just go on and on. We're going to talk to Lee Constantine in a minute, someone that knows and has spent their life making your life better. Ray Kroc, ladies and gentlemen, spent most of his life as a traveling, listen to this, irony coming. Tico, if I had a button right here, it would flash irony, little irony things across the screen, but I don't have my button yet. Cricket, but I hit that crickets button. Okay, Chance, listen up. Ray Kroc spent most of his life, listen to this, not selling hamburgers. Here's irony coming, Lee. He was a traveling milkshake machine salesman. Ray Kroc, ladies and gentlemen, was a traveling milkshake machine salesman. And the irony is, every time you go to McDonald's, the milkshake machine's broken. So for someone that spent his entire life as a traveling milkshake machine salesperson, Ray Kroc would roll over in his grave today if he were to go to a McDonald's and ask for a milkshake because they ain't got him. But listen, at 52 years young, he walked into a McDonald's Brothers restaurant and saw something that excited him. What did Ray see? He saw the opportunity to do what they do better. There are people out there who have the gift of spotting flaws in your processes. Boom, woo! All you HR people, all you CEOs, all you COs, listen up. Because if you want to know what to look for, hire someone that's better at what you do than you are. Woo! Look at LaTanya is dancing. Roll Tide. I should have a button right here that says Roll Tide. But listen, he saw the opportunity to do what they do better than the way they do it. Sometimes what's missing from your team, your real estate team, your business team, are the teammates. Woo. Ooh, do y'all see those ghosts? They're flying around. Sometimes what's missing are the teammates. Sometimes the person that can take your business to the next level is what you should be looking for. Listen, this wasn't just a business model. Ray had a vision of bringing quick, quality food to families. He found happiness in the idea of serving others efficiently and consistently. Stephanie White, go home. Listen, this started with a man who found joy in the simple idea of serving others well. Now listen, you guys know that it wouldn't be me if I didn't throw at least one example from the book, the good book, the book. Take it as nonfiction, take it as fiction, but I'm going to tell you one quick story out the Bible. Now listen, there's a character in the Bible I mentioned last time. His name was Nehemiah. And Nehemiah was building Jerusalem's temple. He was rebuilding the wall. But he didn't just restore the city, he restored hope. Now, when the work was complete, Nehemiah said, what? Very famous passage of scripture, the joy of the Lord is your strength. You see, he found joy in making God happy. Sometimes in your business, you find joy in helping other people. Oh my goodness. Lee, we're going to talk about this later. Ladies and gentlemen, he entered the studio a while back, and we're going to cut to that in just a little bit. But sometimes you find joy in helping other people. And the reason, oh gosh, I'm going to need a Band-Aid out there, Tico. I'm going to need a Band-Aid, Kate. I'm about to cut somebody. The reason that your business has not taken off is because you're so focused on your business. The reason your business has not taken off is because you're focused on your business instead of helping people in their life. And if your business were more centered about how many people you can help, you'll find out that that business will take off. Look at you, Andrew Sims. It's good to see you way up in Birmingham, Alabama. So Nehemiah, he worked and he told people that the joy of the Lord is the strength. He discovered that happiness isn't about avoiding hard work, but it's found in doing meaningful work. Whew. I had a coach one time ask me, was I working smart or was I working hard? Listen, happiness isn't found in avoiding hard work. You're going to have to do some hard work, ladies and gentlemen. But make sure that if you're working hard, you're doing something that is meaningful. Build something that matters and that brings satisfaction. And what you'll find out is you don't need entertainment or anything else. Nehemiah found joy in serving others and being a part of something bigger than himself. Okay, let me hit you with another character in the Bible, personality. We're talking about Joseph, the prince of Egypt. Listen, Joseph, brothers threw him in a ditch, sold him off, wrote him off, told his daddy he was dead, took his little coat of many colors and just tossed it to the wood, put some blood on it, took it to daddy, and wrote Joseph off. Joseph had every reason to be bitter. Whew, some of you guys are eternally bitter. What you mad at? What are you mad? Some of you guys wake up bitter, go to bed bitter, go to work bitter, talk bitter to your husband, talk bitter to your wife, talk bitter to your children. It's like you've been sliced with a razor blade and dipped in hot sauce. What are you mad at? Wake up. Life is good. Life is great. But people who have great lives understand that life is what you make it. Joseph had every reason to be bitter. He was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused. He was thrown in prison and left and hadn't done a thing wrong. Well, he actually did do something wrong, and we're going to talk about that in another episode. You see, if we're going to talk about Joseph, let's go back to the beginning of Joseph's first mistake. You can't tell everybody your dreams. Lee, I should have a button right here that has some crickets on it. Joseph's first mistake was when he went to his brothers and told his brothers his dreams. And as a result of that, they tossed him in a pit. You can't share. Oh, my God. My guest today knows something about this. You can't share big ideas with small-minded people. Somebody get the Band-Aid, somebody get the alcohol, get the antiseptic, get the iodine. Do they still put iodine on? Get the iodine because there are people out there bleeding. I just cut you. You cannot share big ideas with small-minded people. And the thing about sharing a big idea with a small-minded people, you would think that they would sit back and laugh at you. No, small-minded people take up their banner and start trying to stop you from doing what you're doing. It's a crazy dichotomy. But anyway, listen. Sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown in prison. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's the truth, Amanda. Good morning, everybody. Everywhere Joseph went, though, after that, he found ways to serve others excellently. You see, despite the circumstances that life has thrown at you, in your pursuit of happiness, what you need to do is have a spirit of excellence in how you do it. Joseph found ways to serve others excellently. He managed Potiphar's household. He interpreted dreams for fellow prisoners. Now, I want to put a hangnail right there. Joseph interpreted dreams for other people, for Pharaoh and other prisoners. Isn't it funny how sometimes in life chance, you can do things for other people, but you can't do nothing to help yourself? Wow. I could put that in a 4 CD set and sell that on Time Life because I'm trying to help you guys. Sometimes it's all about helping other people, and you will find your happiness in serving others and not serving yourself. But listen, Joseph realized that happiness didn't come from circumstances. It came from a commitment to excellence in service. Even in prison, he found a way to help others. Faithfulness in small acts led him to a second. Faithfulness in small acts led Joseph to be second in command in Egypt, and he saved them from a famine. The joy was already there, people. The joy is there in your daily choice to serve with excellence, regardless of receiving recognition. Every day here, we as staff, we know that we serve our members through serving the board of directors. We go out and we try to achieve the strategic plan every day, and we achieve personal fulfillment from doing that. I'm going to stop here and take a little break, because you need to understand that sometimes your destiny in reaching and achieving that destiny comes from serving others. So let's step back and take a look at your business. As we come to a conclusion of the first part of today's show, I want to send a big shout out. I see you, Renata. Good to see you down there. I see Brian Rubio, a leader in the making. If you guys don't know, watch out. He's coming. Good to see you, Brian. Good to see everybody out there today. Big shout out to everybody watching Uplift with Cliff today. And remember, I want you to hit like, and I want you to share today's message on your Facebook channel so that others can be blessed the same way that you are. So we talked about Joseph. We talked about Nehemiah. We talked about Vera Wang, and we talked about the Colonel. Today, I want to bring these stories close to home. And so we're going to have a conversation here in just a little bit with one of the quintessential leaders. Ooh, that was a big word. Quintessential. Q-U-I, quintessential. We have today one of the most quintessential leaders in Central Florida history. Now, I am proud to call this man brother. He has tolerated me down through the years. When people, listen, he's one of those types of brothers that will pick you up when everybody else is trying to step on you. That's why he's he's the first guest on this week's show. He's one of those brothers that has served tirelessly in the morning, at night, when it's popular, when it's not popular, when you have the majority of the house and when you are the minority of the house, when you are the majority of the Senate, when you are the minority of the Senate, when everybody in the county is with you and when everybody in the county is saying, what are they doing? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be back with a very special guest in just 1 minute.
The real estate pulse is beating strong in Central Florida, and you're invited to feel it firsthand. The Orlando Regional Realtors Association presents the 2025 State of the Real Estate. 2 counties, 2 big mornings. Orange County, August 15th, 7:30 a.m. at ORRA headquarters. Seminole County, August 21st at the Lake Mary Events Center. Market insights, expert speakers, and the connections that keep you ahead. Don't miss it. Visit orlandorealtors.org to register today. And after you've tackled the trends, it's time to celebrate the legends. Join us for Luau of Legends, the ORRA Awards ceremony, September 26th at ORRA headquarters. An unforgettable evening of recognition, celebration, and aloha vibes. Awards, laughter, and memories you won't want to miss. Mark your calendars, the legends await. And now, back to Uplift with Cliff.
Okay, we are back, broadcasting live still from City Beautiful Studio here at the world headquarters of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, I promised you a special guest when we were here last month, and I am thrilled to welcome, he's on camera now, Seminole County Commissioner Lee Constantine, a man who truly embodies everything that we are talking about today. Someone who has pursued happiness in life by serving others. Lee has been a public servant, get this, for over 47 years, from being, you're not ready for this, the youngest official ever in the history of Altamont Springs, on to the Florida House and the Florida Senate, and now is serving us all as a county commissioner. Now, what really caught my eye, now I've known Lee for maybe 2 decades, disclaimer, we're not new to each other. But what really caught my eye is how Lee has turned service into a lifestyle. Not just through his political career, but through his charity challenge. Okay, everybody put your hand up under your chin because your jaw is about to drop. I'm getting ready to lay something on you. Listen to this. Lee, yes, your commissioner, throughout his political career and his charity challenge, has raised over $7 million for hundreds of charities dating back to 1987. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cliff. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not new to Lee Constantine. Lee is the consummate leader. He is someone in Central Florida that many people won't admit that they model their careers after. But Lee gives people so many other reasons to become a public servant. Now, Lee, you were elected as the youngest official in Altamont Springs back in 1978. Now, at that age, back in 78, what were you thinking? What drove you to want to be in public service?
Well, it actually started when I was at UCF, and a group of my friends said, Lee, and I'd never been involved in student government or anything of that nature, even in high school. I'd just been one of the guys, and in sports and things of that nature. and some of them said, Lee, you've got the gift of gab. Why don't you run for student senate? And, you know, I thought about it for a minute, and I said, okay, it's something I can try. I did. I won. And within a year and a half, I was student body president.
Wow.
And I realized that it wasn't that I had a gift for it, it's that I loved it so much. And you used the word passion. Passion is something that creates, you know, the willingness to do everything or anything.
That's deep.
And you really, you know, if you have passion, you can't, and enthusiasm, you can't really lose, because each thing that you do, you're doing it for the love of doing it, not just for the end result. So I became student body president. I loved it, and I realized, and my mother once said a few years after I got elected, recently actually, that I'm one of the luckiest SOBs in the world. and the reason is, she said, you learned at a very early age what made you happy. And what made you happy was public service. So even though I've always maintained a business, maintained another, profession, always made a commitment to myself that I was going to make more money on the outside than in public service. Mm-hmm. It's the public service that drives me. It's that feeling of giving back, as you've said, to others. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't live off your community, you live for your community.
Whoa. Lee just broke the mold. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a mic. I hope you can remember that, because I'm about to ask you that again. Lee just gave you guys a mic drop moment. I need everybody to type what he is about to say into the comments. I need you to hit like, get ready to share, but listen closely, because this is the holy grail. This is the missing key for many of you as to why your businesses and your endeavors have not taken off. Lee, tell them what you just said again about living off, and listen up. Get ready to type.
You don't live off your community, you live for your community. And the service that you provide will come back tenfold to you.
Wow, ask not what your association can do for you, but what you can do for your association. Why is that relevant? Because the association is made up of you. I am your servant. Lee is the servant of the community. Lee, that might be, I think you're better than me, bro. That was deep. I mean, that was 20 leagues deep. And so, listen, looking back at the young man who first ran for office, what did you think would bring you happiness then versus what actually has brought you happiness and joy over the last 46 years?
Well, again, I just, to finish that story, so I went off, as everybody did, tried to get, thought I was going to work within the degree that I received, and I got a degree in communications journalism, marketing, for that sake, and I got the best job anybody could ever dream of in marketing. I got a job with Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati, Ohio, and moved up there for a short period of time. Loved it, learned a lot of things, but it didn't give me the wake-up moment every day that I wanted to get out there and do something, the passion. So I moved back home, started a small business, and made enough money that I could then do what I really wanted to do, and that was run for office. So I started running for office when I was 23 years old, and nobody gave me a chance. Nobody said that I was going to win. In fact, my only contributor in my first election was my mother.
Wow.
And and everything else I just did until the very end when I started gaining momentum. But even then, people said he doesn't have a chance. I was running against. There were 4 established elected officials in Altamont Springs, all of which were disagreeing with each other, but none of them were agreeing that I should be the candidate. Wow. I was my own guy. So I just knocked on every single door in Altamont Springs. I was working now at the time at UCF. I was teaching in real estate, and I would knock on the door after work in the summer until 9 o'clock when it got dark. And one thing led to another, and I woke up, the day of the election, thinking, okay, this was a great learning experience, but I didn't think I was going to win. I was outspent 20-1, and I'll never forget. I came home after continuing the door-to-door thing all day, and I fell asleep. And it was after 7 o'clock. I fell asleep, and my mother and a few other friends had put together a little party, just to congratulate me on all the hard work. And I got a phone call because I was asleep. And my mother said, "Lee, where are you?" And I said, "Mom, I'm sleeping. I'm tired. I've been walking all day." She said, "No, you got to get up here." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'll be there in a minute." And she said, "No, you got to get up here now. You won."
Wow.
And that was the first time I said, "Wow, this hard work, persistence actually works." So then it was the naive enthusiasm, of learning the process and trying to, understand the policies and the procedures. But, now it's the fact that I told myself a long time ago, if I don't wake up every day with the passion of wanting to do something for the people that I serve, it's time to go. It's time to turn out the lights. And I still do that. 47 years later, I wake up and I say, okay, what can I do today that's going to make the people that I serve, have a better quality of life?
What an amazing story. Now listen, you know what I took from that? Lee said the only person that contributed to his campaign was his mother. So what if some don't believe? So what if others don't believe? As long as you believe, as long as Lee believed. Now Lee, you've made believers out of people now for over 40 years. You've been in public service for almost 5 decades. Now, this is a profession where people criticize you publicly, where compromise is harder and harder to find, and where progress can be slow. What practices have kept you grounded and joyful in the midst of an ever-changing and negative environment?
Well, the self-satisfaction of knowing that you're doing good for others. But also, in this, it is difficult. It's changed. There is a cynicism that is pervasive throughout, public office right now. Mm-hmm. And what people have forgotten is, or everybody has become an ideologue. Everybody thinks that it's all or nothing. And the fact is, one of the things that keeps me going is where everybody else, when I watch them, think that they're the smartest person in the room, I know I'm not. And that is actually a benefit to me, because I don't sit there and think that I'm going to win 100%. I listen to others. I take from them what is good ideas and try to mold them in with what I believe and what I know is where the people want to go. So when I sit there and try to come up with things, I come up with not ideologue 100%, but consensus. Mm-hmm. I think that our government was set up not to be easy. It was checks and balances are not easy, and I remember somebody once saying, or I read one place, that you gain 51% and you hold. And next year you gain another 51%. And that's winning. Not all or nothing, but trying to find a way that you're going to build consensus within the group that you're doing, whether it's 120 people in the House of Representatives, 40 in the Senate, or 5 in the Commission. In fact, I'll tell you, coming with consensus with 5 people is a lot harder than 120 sometimes.
Right, it is. But let me ask you another question, and I'm going to deviate just a little bit, because we talked about criticism and people have lost their decorum today. And so I've got a couple of people out here today who've let me know that they're going through some things. They're leaders in their communities. These are people who are not necessarily in Florida. They're literally all over everywhere. How do you deal with receiving criticism from people you never even met. From people who have something to say about Lee Constantine, you didn't do anything to them. All you've ever done is try to help them. You never met these people in person, but yet they have something to say about you. How have you handled that down through the years?
Well, it's throughout everything you do. I mean, it's not just when you're in as a public servant or an elected official. You know, everybody's going to get criticism from people. You know, there's jealousies out there, and you have to deal with them. But something that I always try to remember is, and someone told me one time, no one ever erected a statue for a critic. You sit there and you do what you think is right. I learned, I was the first 6 months of my political career, I was horrible. I was terrible. I was trying to come up with as I told you, that dynamic of Altamont Springs back then, there was two people on one side, two people on the other side. None of them supported me. I was in the middle. So every day I would sit there and wake up and try to figure out which side was doing the right thing on which issue.
Wow.
And then one day, about 6 months in, you know that time when you wake up in the morning and most of the time you come up with these great ideas, but when you're kind of awake, kind of asleep, but when you finally wake up, you forget them? Mm-hmm. Well, I had epiphany one day. I woke up and I remembered. And what it said to me, what my own mind said to me is, quit worrying about what they want. Do what's right. Do what you think is right. And so that commission meeting that night, it was Tuesday, that night, I made a commitment to myself that I would make every single motion. Because all the other votes had been 3-2, 3-2. And I realized, do what's right, because all they want to do is win. They didn't want to do what was right. They wanted to do is win. So I was all these 3-2 votes. So I started making the motions. And for the next 13 and a half years that I was mayor or city commissioner, I made almost all the motions. And guess what? I never lost again. And almost every single vote was 5-0.
Wow.
Because I did what I thought was right. And so that is one thing that has helped me. I may not always be right, but I always do what I think is right.
Now, I can personally say that as someone that's known Lee for a long time, he's speaking what he actually does. He doesn't make it up. Now, you've also run a business consulting practice in real estate. How do you bring that same servant's heart from public service into the private sector?
By treating people like you treat yourself. Any one of the clients that I've ever worked with, usually it's on a consulting basis of trying to find out the right location or the right piece of property or the right concept. And, it's never about the commission. You don't think, so many people, and I've done this before, where you sit there and say, oh, if I sell it for this is how much commission I'm going to get. You already put it in the bank. Forget about all that. Again, as I say in public service, do what you think is right. And what is right in that biz is what's right for the person that you're serving. Do what you think is right.
Now, I can't share every story that Lee and I have together because today things are just different. But Lee has had opportunities to build consensus. He remembers being in the House and the Senate when the House and Senate were Democrat. And now the House and Senate are majority Republican. So Lee has spanned and worked with people and build consensus among people for decades. Now, what I want to ask is, so you've achieved what many would consider the pinnacle of success. You've served in the Florida House of Representatives. You served in the Florida Senate. You served on the County Commission. You have a successful business. You've raised millions for charity. But looking back, what has brought you the most lasting satisfaction? The big legislative victories or the quiet moments of helping people that no one else sees?
Well, the greatest thing about doing what you do is there's something different every single day. It's never the same. And you always have to use all your skills on any given problem to try to achieve compromise. But the things that always give me, when I look back, are the things that I know have saved, people, lives, money, or the future. You know, I'm a big environmentalist, and I truly believe that it's very important to protect our natural resources for our children and for generations beyond. But, you know, I'll give an example. You know that you talk about being in the minority. For the 4 years, and I think this is something that the people up in Tallahassee right now are missing. The 4 years I was in the minority was the best education that I ever received, because you had to learn to work with people and compromise, and you weren't in charge. You know, the entitlement that now is pervasive in the legislature from those that are in charge, sometimes they forget that there are other meaningful, you know, ideas that they are missing simply because they're not of their party. And that's totally wrong. But I will tell you that, you know, I look back, and whether it's the Wekiva Parkway and Protection Act or the Florida Forever bills that I passed, you know, those things are great. But I'll just give you something that meant a lot to me. I grew up in Bear Lake, right, you know, near Apopka, in a Apopka address, you know, in Seminole County, far west. And you know, I lived there until I was 13. No air conditioning. You know, family, 1,000 square foot house. I mean, we were, you know, we weren't poor, but we weren't rich. You know, we were lower middle class, but we were happy. And I'll never forget. I was there. I grew up. You know, you build your values. Played Little League baseball there. By the way, how do you love that Lake Mary? All of them are winning. The girl. I mean, I love that, my community. But I grew up there playing for the Bear Lake Pirates. Okay. And I was doing, and that's still part of, obviously, Seminole County, but my district. And I was doing a homeowners association meeting one time and talking to them. And after I finished doing that, an old man, had to be at least 101, came up to me, and with a crooked finger, he said, "I remember you. You threw eggs at my house on Halloween."
Oh, wow.
And I was taken aback. And I said, "Sir, you're probably right. I did."
You're right.
"You're probably right, I did." And he said, "But I want to tell you, I'm proud of you. You've done a heck of a job for the people of Seminole County." And you know what? That meant more to me than millions of dollars could have ever meant, that man said that to me.
What
and
a story.
you know, and that was just a couple of years ago that he came up to me. And it's those types of things. There's nothing greater than self-satisfaction that you've done better for other people.
Lee, what a story. And I think you've already answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because if I can get you to just pour a little bit more out of that huge heart of yours, I'm looking for it. If you haven't noticed it yet, you're listening to the last of a generation. If you understand politics, today we have politicians. You're hearing the words of a statesman, and people don't know what a statesman is. You know, today we have a lot of people, and they pretty much just do what the party tells them to do. Yeah. They've lost all of their will. They've lost their free will. They've lost track with the reason why they're there. I tell the story. I can't mention names because that will end this show. But I remember the day that there's a very, 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 very well-known politician whom you guys see all the time, and there's no need in playing Guess Who, because I'm not going to ever tell. But I remember when I would walk past the politician's office in Tallahassee, and the music would be playing, and it would be hip-hop music. And today, you know, that person is someone that you would never know that they listen to country music or hip-hop or anything else, because they're a construct of what they've been told to be. And so you're talking about somebody that was cutting budgets, that was advocating for smaller government, someone that was advocating for more personal freedoms and never had to sign a pledge to do it. The only pledge he made was in his heart, that he was going to serve the community. And so I want you guys to realize, look up what is a statesman as it pertains to politics, because you're hearing one of the few in the last speeches of our original public servants. Now, Lee, I've got thousands of realtors that are members of this organization, and we are dedicated as a staff towards serving those people and helping them fulfill their dream of helping others fulfill their dreams. Now, for someone watching today who feels called to serve their community, but thinks that they need to choose between making a living and making a difference, what would you tell them based on your 46 years of experience?
Well, there's a balance. It's difficult sometimes, but it is also, as you indicated in your previous dialogue, it's a calling. Public service is not to become more powerful, or should not become more powerful. Public service.
Stop. Ladies and gentlemen, what this man just said, I could sell on a Netflix TV show for $9.99 a month, and 10 million people would subscribe. Can you say that again? Because that was deep. One more time.
Well, public service, serving an elected official and being an elected official is not about power. It's about service. And I never remember somebody that was very close to me when I was in the legislature used to always finish his letters, your servant.
Wow.
And instead of sincerely. And the point is that so many people today are getting into politics to become powerful, to dictate, to build their own brand, if you will. And that's not what this is about. I've never felt that it was my responsibility to build my brand. I felt that I'll never forget, I was leaving the legislature, and when I first got in, someone walked up to me and said, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. Learn the process, learn the rules, learn the policy, and power will come. And I lived by that when I was in the legislature. So when I was leaving, 18 years later in the Senate, I found a young state representative that just gotten in, who I knew had a lot of talent, and I said, I'm going to tell him the same thing. So I sat him down and I said, listen, learn the policy, learn the rules, learn the process, and power will come. And in those 18 years, here's what's changed. You know what he said to me?
What?
But if I get power, I can dictate everything else. He didn't care about the process or the policy or what has happened before. All he cared about is the power he could get. And I think that is something that is today, unfortunately, as you talked about statesmen, I served with statesmen. I served with people that cared about the future. Today, they care about the quarter bottom line. And you can go that to corporations or politicians or anything else. It's the quarter bottom line that they care about when they don't look at the big picture. They don't look at 5, 10, 20 years down the road.
Right.
And that's what's more important, because you have to build a sustainability, whether you're in public service or you're in business. That's one of the reasons people say, why are you an environmentalist and a Republican and in real estate? And I said, because that's the reason people move here. They don't move here because we have the best strip malls. They move here because they want to be part of the idea of Florida. And if we don't protect that idea, if we don't protect the waters, the beautiful natural resources, then why would somebody from Ohio or Illinois or Pennsylvania leave their home, leave their career, leave their family, or not family, extended family, and come here? There is no reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, this now you know why Lee is our guest. Lee, I want to thank you for your decades of service, and you really illustrate what we've been talking about today. And so thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Cliff.
It's time for us to begin to land this plane. In doing so, I want to tell you guys my final word is about the happiness paradox. The happiness paradox. Here's something that I've learned the hard way. The more you chase happiness like it's something that you can catch, the more it slips away. The more you go after happiness, the more you chase happiness as if it's a plane that you can catch, the more it slips away. But when you chase purpose, when you chase purpose, when you focus on serving others and being useful, happiness starts to chase you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, think about it this way. There's quick happiness and there's lasting happiness. Quick happiness is like sugar. Gives you a rush, but then there's a crash. That's the excitement of closing a big deal, buying something new, or getting recognized on TV, on media, on social media. But lasting happiness, that's like protein. It sustains you. It's the satisfaction of knowing you made a difference and that you made someone's day better. You solved the problem and you did what matters. Quick happiness asks, in my closing remarks, quick happiness asks, what can I get? Lasting happiness asks, what can I give? Oh my gosh, Lee, they didn't hear that. Quick happiness asks, what can I get? Lasting happiness asks, what can I give? That's been all of Uplift with Cliff today, ladies and gentlemen. I've got just a couple of closing remarks here that I want to say to you. Listen, we wouldn't be uplifting if we weren't affirming. And so for today's affirmations, I need you all to look in the mirror. Tell yourself and talk to yourself. No one else is going to tell you the things that you need to say to yourself every day when you wake up in the morning. You get up in the morning, you thank the Almighty, but then you look in the mirror and you say this: I will be successful today. Say it. Say it to me. Type it in the screen. Say it somewhere that it means something to you. I will be successful today. I want you to also look in the mirror, and I need you to say this. If you don't say it, if you don't believe it, no one else will for you. I need you to say, today is going to be my best day ever. Oh my gosh. Say it with your chest. Say it like you mean it. Say it. Today will be my best day ever. And I need you to say the last thing: people love me and want to do business with me. Don't put your head down and walk around like you're a second-class citizen. Today is going to be your best day ever. People do love you and people do want to do business with you, and there's no reason that you won't absolutely go out and kill it today. I want to send big shout out, big hearts of love. Thank you, Patty Alonso. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Keela. Thank you, Princess. I can't name all the people. There's so many people that came through today. I want to thank you all: Amanda, Latanya, Chance, Sandra, Claudita, Kay, everybody that made today's Uplift successful. Thank you very much. Be ready to tune in next week. I don't know that if I can top Lee Constantine, but I'll do my very best to keep this momentum going. Thank you. God bless you. Until next time, this has been Uplift with Cliff.
Time to be better, do better, see better. It's time for Uplift with Cliff. To get a little uplift with Cliff. With Cliff. Time to rise, time to shift. Get your spark, get your gift. Yeah, it's time for Uplift with Cliff. Are you ready for some uplift with Cliff? Welcome to Uplift with Cliff. It's time to be better, do better, see better. It's time for Uplift with Cliff. To get a little uplift with Cliff. With Cliff. Time to rise, time to shift. Get your spark, get your gift. Yeah, it's time for Uplift with Cliff. Are you ready for some uplift with Cliff? Welcome to Uplift with Cliff. time to be better, do better, see better. It's time for Uplift with Cliff. To get a little uplift.